friends, it's Deanna here today, and welcome to part 2 of our Cutie Mac pattern capsule sew along. This and the last one we sewed up the Be Determined and the Sweetie Pie. On this one we're gonna sew up the Kayla ruffle top and the Lizzie pants. Super cute, super adorable. This is gonna be such a cute capsule, so let's finish it up. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our bodices, our front and our back, and we're going to match up. Look at this cute fabric! Another cute little panel. We're going to match up our raw edges. I know I get this question asked a lot, so I mentioned it on the other video, but I'll mention it again. This is all cotton lycra I'm using, and it came from the knitfabric.com shop. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and sew those shoulders, but also while we're at it, I'm going to grab, we have all these ruffles. So really, a lot of this is just ruffling. I'm gonna grab all my ruffles, and I'm gonna go on the top of my ruffles. The first thing I like to do is fold them together and find the tippy top of my ruffles, like the half. That way once they're ruffled and I go to attach them to my sleeve, I know exactly where my half is. So, and then I can even them out between the two sides. So I'm gonna do that to all my ruffles. So there's two sleeve ruffles, and so I'm gonna do that to both of them. And then I'm gonna go over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to use a long straight stitch and gather for my ruffles. Now there's different ways of gathering, and we do have a video on our channel about different methods of gathering. So if you wanna go check that out, if you don't like to just do it on your sewing machine, there's different ways you can do it, and that's okay. And then also for my other ruffles, this is for my, my bottom of my shirt ruffles. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to sew them together at the raw edge, and now they are one whole thing. And I am also going to find my quarters, because I also want to be able to tell once it's gathered, I won't be able to tell exactly what where each quarter is. So I want to go ahead and match, go to the front and mark my half. So now I marked it in half, and then I'm gonna match that half. Whoops, just dropped my scissors, and go and match up the back and this and the front, and go to the one side and mark it, and then go to the other side and mark it. And we'll do the same for our second ruffle. So we've got 2 ruffles for the hem side and 2 ruffles for our sleeves. So we don't have sleeves, it's just a flutter. So it's super, super cute. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all this, sew them together, sew my shoulders, and gather all my ruffles. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you want your ruffles to be hemmed, you can go ahead and hem them now. You can do a rolled hem, you can do, there's all kinds of different hems you can do. We also have a tutorial on our channel about hemming, so you can do that. I am going to leave mine raw because I am using, like I said, cotton lycra, and I actually like the raw edge on the cotton lycra better than having a like a folded hem that you can see, because of it being just a little ruffle. So I'm gonna leave it raw, but that is up to you. If you want to leave it raw, or if you want to do a hem, you can go ahead and hem those as well. I'm just gonna leave them all raw. Make sure that when you start and you finish, you leave a long tail for gathering. I like to go ahead and, when I'm gathering, I like to grab my thread from the top and kind of pinch it, and it gives me a little bit of a gather as it goes. All right, we'll start with our Flutter Sleeves. So I'm gonna open up my bodice right here, and I'm gonna start with my top layer first, and my top layer is gonna be this pumpkin layer, so cute. And I'm gonna pin it where my mark is right there, and go all the way down. And what I can do is, either if you want to go ahead and baste this on first, we're gonna go down and stop at 1 inch off the edge, because we're gonna have that little space right there. So I'm gonna gather even a little bit more than I did on my sewing machine already. And right there. Okay, so what you can do is we can either go ahead and pin them where they are and one ruffle on top of the other. Or if you are worried that your ruffle might move on you and, you know, create like a little hustle for you when you're trying to sew them together, then I would recommend going ahead and basting your first ruffle first and then basting the other ruffle on top. And well, sewing the other ruffle on top. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to gather a little bit, so it's got to be an inch away from the edge, like so. So I'm going to gather this a little bit more. I think it's good on this side. I'm going to gather it a little bit more on this side, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next. Alright, so like I said, right now, if you want, you can go ahead and baste stitch this ruffle on. But if you want to go ahead, if you're like, I think it'll be fine, you can go ahead and grab your next ruffle and put it right side down. So the right side is going to touch the right side of the bodice. Again, we want to make sure that they're both right side down, and then put it right on top. Again, gather it so it's the same width. We want it to be an inch off the side, so I'm also gathering. So let me go ahead and gather both sides and get them and transfer those pins so that they are the same. Alright, so then we're going to go ahead and sew these ruffles together. I'm going to serge them together. You can, if you don't want to serge, you can go ahead and zigzag stitch them together. But I'm going to go ahead and do the same on the other side, and then we'll go ahead and sew them on. You can already tell how cute that's going to be once it's flipped over. So cute. Alright, now I'm going to head over to sew all these. Remember, when you're sewing though, to make sure that your ruffles are even and they're not going to get cut underneath or anything like that. If you'd rather baste them on first, check them that they're all together, and then sew. You can go ahead and do that. Let's sew. Alright, look at how cute that looks. So super cute. What we're gonna do is we're gonna steam this seam down towards the bodice, and then I'm gonna go over to my cover stitch or your sewing machine, however you want to, and we're going to top stitch all the way down. So we're gonna go ahead and top stitch the whole side all the way down on both sides. Now that our sleeves or ruffle sleeves are top stitched, how cute do they look? Oh my goodness, this top is going to be adorable. I'm going to go ahead and fold it right sides together, and I'm going to start right here at the sides, and I'm just going to sew those sides together. Alright, our sides are sewn, and what I'll do with this tail is I'll just put it right on top and zigzag stitch it down. Or I did watch a video with Nye, showed some reviews and some tools to hide those seams, so you want to go check those reviews out and see what tools you can get that you can hide those with. But we also have a YouTube tutorial on what to do with those serger seams, so go check that out. There's all kinds of different ways. This is looking super cute, and I can't wait to finish it because I am loving it. Alright, so now we're going to do the hems for the ruffles for the bottom, and what we're doing is we're going to go ahead and mark those quarter points on the bottom as well, just like we did on our sleeve. And we're basically going to be doing the same thing that we did on our sleeve, but now this time is going to be on the round. So I'm going to grab my gathered ruffles, and we'll start with our small one, our main one. I don't know if I'd call it main, but whatever. And I'm going to match up. So here's my back one. I want to gather, well, first let's gather them the width of our bodice, so we need to gather them just the width. And remember, we already quartered them, so we can go ahead and look, where's my front? Here's my front. So I know that my front and my back, this side has to be gathered to this width, and then this side to this width. So that's why I like to go ahead and do that. So let me go ahead and gather it, and the same for the other one, and then we'll sew them together. All right, now that these are gathered the width, I'm gonna go ahead and pin them on just like I did my what do you call them? Flutter sleeves. Couldn't think of the word. So I'm gonna pin them in the back, and then I'm gonna match up those quarters that I marked to make sure that they're all nice and even, and I'm gonna pin them all together. And then I'm gonna go ahead and gather my second layer, the longer ruffle, and that's gonna go right on top, right side down, like the right side of the ruffle touching the right side of our bodice. Alright, again, if you're kind of afraid that the two ruffles are not gonna be nicely gathered if you do both of them at the same time, you can go ahead and attach or, you know, baste that first ruffle on, and then this other second ruffle will sew on after that. But I'm gonna go ahead and just gather this ruffle again like I did the other one, the width of the skirt, and I'm just gonna put it right on top. All right, now my gathers are evenly spaced out. So now I'm going to go ahead and move those pins over so that they're trapping both sets of ruffles in here. And then I'm gonna go over to my serger and sew them on just like I did my sleeve flutter ruffle thingies. Let's go sew that. All right, this is looking super, super cute. So if we want to go back, we can steam that seam up and top stitch all the way around just like we did with our sleeve. So I might go back and do that later. But now we're gonna move on to our neckband. So we're gonna grab our neckband, and first we're gonna do like we've done with other neckbands. We're going to fold it wrong sides together and give it a memory crease. My iron turned off, so I might take me a little while for it to warm up and give me my memory crease. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and grab those raw edges, the short raw edges, and sew that together. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and open it and fold it again, the raw edges together, wrong sides together. And then I'm gonna go ahead and quarter my neckband. So from the back to the front. And then our match the front and back and go to the sides. Then we're gonna do the same for our bodice. Match the shoulder seams and go to the back. Shoulder seams go to the front, and then I'm going to match the front and the back and go to one side, front and the back, and go to the other side. And then I'm going to match up my raw edges and the right sides together, starting with the back seam and matching those quarter points. And then we're going to go sew and we'll be done with our top. That was so easy and it is so cute. Then now we're gonna move on to our Lizzie pants and we'll be done with our capsule, and I can't wait to try it on my knees. I think it's gonna look adorable. I'm gonna start by putting my needle down into the neckband. I'm gonna grab that quarter point. I'm gonna even out my neckband and sew. Stopping at that quarter point, then I'm gonna grab my next quarter point, turn everything around,
grab it, even out my neckband and my top, and then sew again and go all the way around.
All right, time for Lizzie pants, and I actually love this pattern. I make it all the time. It is super easy but super cute, and I again love it so much. Okay, so once again, just like with your sleeves and everything else, you can either, with your ruffles that we've already made, you can go ahead and hem these or leave them raw. I usually hem them, but I think I'm gonna leave them raw this time because I left all the ruffles everywhere else raw. So I wanna continue with the same, you know, like raw edge. So I'm gonna leave them raw. But if you want to have that nice sharp hem, usually I do hem them, but it's up to you. So we're gonna go ahead and hem them if you're gonna hem them, or if you're not gonna hem them, we're gonna go ahead and move on to gathering them. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna gather both of the ruffles the width of our bottom. So, well, full ruffles because there's 2 legs. So we're gonna gather them the width of the bottom of the pants. I'm gonna do the gathering again on my sewing machine with a long straight stitch. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my leg now. Remember, the crotch seam is the one that goes in, so the smaller part is the top of the pant, so we wanna work with the bottom of the pant. And you can either go ahead and put your 2 ruffles together, your larger ruffle and your smaller ruffle, gather them the width of the leg and sew them right on top of each other first, like baste them together. Or like we've worked with our tops, like we've done with our tops, we could go ahead and gather this, make sure it's the width of the pant. So start right here. And we can go ahead and put one on top of the other. So we'll start with, I'm putting my, the shorter ruffle first is gonna go on the, it's gonna go right sides together with the pants, so right sides together. And you can go ahead and baste that on first and then put the other ruffle on top. But you know, I'm just gonna go crazy and I'm gonna do one ruffle and then I'm gonna put the other ruffle on top. Now the right side of this other ruffle touching the right side of the pants as well. So we're, all the ruffles are facing down, like their right side are touching the right side of the pant. I'm evening these gathers. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and clip them together. Again, if you are not comfortable with doing this, all the layers in here, you can go ahead and baste 1 layer at a time or baste the 2 layers together first, which is how the pattern does it, because I think it's a little bit, you know, like easier if you want to baste the, whoop, there went my clip. If you want to baste them 2 together first, up to you. I just like to go ahead and go for it. I don't know why, I'm crazy sometimes, and I'm just going for it. But yeah, once I'm done pinning them all together and even, I'm gonna go ahead and sew that raw edge with my serger. You can do your serger, you can do your zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. It's really either way will work just fine. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same for the other leg, and then we're gonna go sew it. I'm gonna show you, when you're using like cotton lycra like this or a knit fabric, a lot of times to be able to tell which way the stretch is going, which way is your right side, if you pull out the fabric, your right side, you'll be able to see your grain line a whole lot better. The back side is kind of fuzzy, so you can't really see the grain line as well, and that's how I know which one's my right side and my wrong side. Sometimes when we're working with like solid colors, solid dark colors, it's kind of hard to tell. So that's what I like to do to be able to tell. All right, you can go ahead and remove those basting stitches now, or like I do sometimes, usually I like to just remove them when I'm like sitting down and watching TV and not like sitting here trying to get sewing done first. It's kind of like a thing that I do, like kind of like when I'm de-stressing, I don't know. Anyway, So I don't know why I'm still pulling at it right now, but anyway, so you'll do that, pull all the basting stitches out. Sometimes they come out really easy and sometimes they're really hard. So that's why I'm kind of like pulling at them right now. It's like once I start doing something, I just want to go ahead and finish it. Are you like that? What do you, like, you know, something, sometimes, I guess I shouldn't say that I'm always like that. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I walk away from a project in the middle of it when it's driving me insane and come back to it later. All right, so I'm gonna have to walk away from this and come back to it later because I think I'm gonna need something to pull that off right there. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and now we're gonna grab our pant and open it up. I'm gonna match them right sides together right here on the crotch in the front area, and we're going to sew those together using either a stretch stitch or a serger. All right, now we're gonna open them up to create the two legs, and I'm going to first match up that crotch seam right here, and then I'm gonna go down one side, matching up those seams right here, and always making sure that your inner layer is together and matched up, and then your top layer. And sometimes what I'll do, honestly, I'll pull that inner layer a little bit out so that I'm sure that it's caught in there, because you don't want it to sneak in when you're trying to sew them together, and then it ends up not being straight, not being caught, and it goes under. So you want to make sure that you even them out and that you can see them. You can see the outer layer. So I'm pinning it, I mean that inner layer, that first ruffle. And I've got my top layer, my middle layers, my two small layers, my inner layer, kind of pull it to the side, to the edge so I can see it, and then my other layer. So, whoop, that went flying. I literally just stepped on one and cracked it because it went flying and I didn't pick it up off the floor, and I cracked it. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and sew, then we're gonna add our waistband, and we're basically done. Super, super easy, super cute. Y'all, was that easier than you thought? We are almost done. I'm gonna have to tuck in all those serger tails, but other than that, and pull out all those basting stitches. But other than that, we're almost done. Again, this tail, you can sew it in like a zigzag stitch or tuck it in with your needle, or there are actual tools to do that with, which Nye reviewed. So you can go watch that, or there is a video here on our channel that shows you how to get rid of those tails, so you can watch that if you have questions about that. But we're just gonna do our waist and we are done, and the waistband is super easy as well. I've got my elastic already. I'm gonna fold it right sides, well, together, and I'm going to zigzag stitch right over it to attach it to make it one round. So I'm just gonna turn around and do that on my sewing machine real quick. So I literally just went back and forth with a zigzag stitch to attach it. Now we're gonna go ahead and quarter it, and because it's elastic, I don't want to clip it with my scissors. I don't want to cut it, so I'm going to just use my clips to mark my quarters. So I'm just doing the front, the back, folding it in half, and catching those sides, so it's on our quarters. And now we already have our quarters for our bottoms because we've got our waist, our halves from the front and back, but then we gotta go mark our quarters, which are our two sides. And you can tell which one is the back by the fact that it's the higher rise. And so I'm going to put my seam in the back, and we're gonna match up that elastic and those pants raw edges together, and it's gonna be the wrong side of on the wrong side of the pants. So you're attaching it to the wrong side, which is different than our usual. Usually our waistband, we attach it to the right side, but the elastic we're attaching to the wrong side. Now you can go ahead and zigzag stitch it on, or use your serger, however you want to sew that on, and you're going to be stretching your fabric a little bit, your elastic a little bit to match your fabric. I'm going to do my serger, but if you're going to do your serger, either you can disengage your knife because you don't want to cut, I don't want to cut my elastic, or you can just make sure that you stay on the side, on the left side of the knife so it's not cutting your elastic. So I'm going to go over there and sew it. Alright, our last step is to fold that waistband down and pin, and you can either go on your serger or your sewing machine with a zigzag stitch, and we're just going to top stitch that waist down. And as we do it, we kind of pull it a little bit so it stays nice and even. And we're just going to go ahead and top stitch it all the way around. I am going to do it with my cover stitch, so I'm just going to go from this side and cover stitch it on, but you can either do your cover stitch, your zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. Either way will be just fine. So we are done with our capsule. All I gotta do now is work on all those basting stitches, removing all the basting stitches, and I will do that. Look at how cute that is. So super cute. I am also making some olive Lizzie pants. I've got some of those, so that will be part of the capsule as well. Don't mind all these little threads hanging out everywhere. Those are the ones I'm gonna pull off. And look, just super cute. I think these will go all together on and off. Like I said, sometimes when it gets a little bit cooler, we'll be wearing the Lizzie pants or just a little dress by itself. How cute would this be with just some like little sandals or something like that? So I am loving this capsule. I hope you loved it as well. I hope you love sewing it up with me. I hope that if you have any questions, let me know, and go get it if you don't have it yet. You will love it. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Please comment, like, share, subscribe. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to our channel so you can see all the new videos that are coming up. And so you can also be entered for our $50 Ellie and Mac gift certificate giveaway that we do monthly. And come join us on Facebook and Instagram so you can see what everybody else is making, and you can show us what you're making so we can be inspired by you. You can be inspired by us. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.